Kristen Lake, then social media platforms are factories spewing toxic pollutants into it. Even if you block the few influent, the population that has already escaped won't just go away. Now, it needs to be cleaned up. That's the analogy used by Whitney Phillips, one of the world's leading experts on the rise of the far right online. Now, to help us demystify the power of social media and break down the ongoing purge of big tech companies on extremism, we are joined by Janet Machuka. She's a digital strategist and was named one of the top 25 digital marketing women in Kenya last year by the American Marketing Association. She's also a former digital journalist. And thank you so much for joining us here on KTN News Center. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Brenda.
Now let's begin by, what transpired over the weekend. And we are seeing Facebook flagging down President Uhuru's message to Yoweri Museveni, terming it as false. Yet, it's a statement that came from State House. So what made Facebook to say this is false information?
One of the things that I feel like these social media platforms are doing, especially Facebook, is they're reading the atmosphere. How are people, what kind of messages are they sending out? What kind of content are they putting out in terms of the presidential elections that happened in Uganda? What is the mood of the people? And as much as they have our data and they're searching it and checking what is happening, it helps them know that how is the atmosphere of people is. At the same time, looking at the way we're using these platforms for social reasons, we are using it for business, we're using it for different reasons, and so many people are now using these platforms to share information, to read information, to get knowledge of it, some information from it. They're trying to curb the aspect of toxicity and going to an extent where people can start wrangles and make now this social media platform a toxic place to be. So what I think they're doing is they're trying to limit to which level they are going to affect people if they read these comments or if they read these comments.
But then I'm just wondering, because this is what State House had posted over the weekend. President Uhuru Kenyatta has termed President Yoweri Museveni's re-election as a testimony of the confidence the people of Uganda have in his leadership. Then hence comes Facebook and says, this is what Facebook said. Their argument for flagging down that post, Facebook says that the same message by State House, it termed it as false information. Yet this is a message that has come from State House, prompting State House to pull down the post. Now, according to Facebook regulations, deleting a post containing false information will not affect the outcome. So my question is, at what point does Facebook say, realize that this message is false, yet it came from State House, from President Uhuru Kenyatta congratulating Yoweri Museveni as the President of the Republic of Uganda?
On the other hand, I feel, apart from what I had already given my views, I feel like these social media platforms are also pushing the people, the public, to a point where they don't want to trust these governments. At the same time, they're trying to tell people whatever these people are posting, the heads, the governments, the state houses of different countries, they are projecting what is false. So there are two ways in how we can actually look at this. One, from the point where they feel like the mood, the atmosphere of people around those spaces and people consuming content within that geographical location feel like it's not the same as how people wanted it to be. And on the other hand, they're doing it wrongly in a way that they're not giving respect that these are statuses of different countries which are giving these comments. The question is, have they counter-checked with these people? Have they counter-checked with the government of Kenya, with the government of Uganda? And looking at the outcome, they have already announced the winner. We don't have an option. So blocking such information, I feel like it's going to start more chaos and now going to make the platforms become segmented in a way that some people will feel like Facebook is doing the right thing. Others will feel like Facebook is doing the wrong thing. And then now conflict will come in. So I don't really know how we should have approached it. But I feel like this is something that we need to discuss so that we can see, or we can help Facebook know what they should flag and what they shouldn't.
And when you're talking about, working with Facebook to know what they should flag and what they should not flag down, and they said that they had actually conducted their own fact-finding mission and found that there was a bit of some small difference, and they also had independent fact-checkers saying that the information has no basis in fact. The same information that State House actually posted. So then, my question is...
as much as they have...
Go ahead.
Please go ahead with your question so that I can answer together.
All right. So my question is, so now so Facebook says the message by the president is false information, quote unquote, and then State House goes ahead to pull it down. So why were they pulling it? Why were they posting it if they knew it was false information, then pull it down again after, Facebook says, the management of Facebook says this is false information?
Them pulling it down, that's another reason. They're giving us more weight to why we should believe, us as consumers, the public, that the information was false. If the information wasn't false, they shouldn't have actually removed it. But in this aspect, they chose to pull it down. So what are they trying to tell us as the public? The information wasn't right. So we have so many ways actually we can approach this, but I feel like them pulling it down, knowing that they had already posted the right thing, gives us an idea, gives us a reason to why we should believe the kind of results that came from this presidential election in Uganda weren't right. And now that leaves everybody in a limbo.
Right.
What should we do forward after this?
So one might look at it like probably it's payback. Facebook paying back, Yoweri Museveni, the president of the Republic of Uganda, because, the government of Uganda shut down the internet, social media, on the basis that false information might be sent by different people, probably the opposition, as a way of disuniting the country. So hence, the government decided to shut down the social media platform. So is Facebook trying to do a payback?
To some extent, some of us actually look at it from that point, because why would you ban all the social media platforms, Facebook included, and you're not now allowing people to use and comment and share whatever that is happening on the ground? At the end of the day, you come again and share the results, and now you want us to validate. So to some extent, some of us will look at it as a clash between the two sides. But at the same time, I feel like Facebook haven't already certified some of this information they're getting out of these elections. That's why they end up putting pulling down some of the content that is being posted from different people. So that's a gap that we need now, the response of Facebook. Maybe they will respond today or tomorrow, we don't know. But let's see how it happens, because we don't really know, the public, we haven't really come out with a clear reason to why they're saying it's false, they're pulling down. At the same time, why did the government go ahead and shut down all these social media platforms? For what reason exactly?
All right, because you know what Facebook says about Uganda's situation. Facebook went ahead and said that it shut down several accounts of a network in Uganda linked to the country's Ministry of Information. That's the Ministry of Information of Uganda. So it says that the social media company accused the network of using fake accounts to promote the ruling party and the president, talking about the policies of social media.
When it comes to using fake accounts and doing a lot of misinformation and fake news in the social media platforms, also Facebook, we can't really say that there is a way that these social media platforms have found a way to crack down all the fake pages, fake accounts. It's a journey that they are doing. Actually, they have tried to this point, but they still need to do more and work, maybe find a new AI on how to work with it and know this is fake or not. So that alone gives them a challenge in that it's very hard for them to crack down all people, fake news and fake accounts at one point.
All right.
As in at a go. But they are doing something. At least we are assured that they are doing something. And, you know, as much as some of the people, actually, some of them feel like their freedom of speech has been hindered. They can't go ahead and express themselves. And these social media platforms came in a way that we should express ourselves freely. But remember, as much as we express ourselves, we share some of the information. Some of us are so careless in a point where we don't care if you're sharing fake news, if you're misinforming the people, the public. And to some way, if you know very well as a journalist that fake news travels faster.
In fact, Janet, I was about to ask you that. I was about to ask you that because, you know, for Facebook and Twitter to start online censorship, then what happens to freedom of expression?
Most of the people will feel that they are suppressed. Some of the people will feel like it's a good idea because we consume. Sometimes we read some posts and then we are like, okay, why is this person? Did this person even go ahead and post this? And then sometimes you ask yourself, is this even right? You shake your head and be like, oh my God, is this even true? Did this even get a chance to be posted on social media? So the fake news, misinformation is something that all these social media platforms are actually facing. That is the biggest challenge that they are facing.
Right.
But how should they go ahead and track it down and censor this kind of information? They will have to start from a point. And this is what I feel like they're doing. Look at, yesterday I read a post on Washington Post, and then they were talking about how banning Trump reduced the number of fake news, not really the number, the amount of fake news that is on social media. So that gives you an idea that some people who are in power, some people who have the voices, the authorities on social media to share some of the information can mislead us in a way that they say it. Now, us who are reading as the consumers, we end up even becoming more angrier. We feel so... we feel like we want to act in a certain way, not only on the digital space, but also on the offline. So, and looking at the current situation of things, social media is becoming a center of communication, a center of discussions. And people are taking some of the information and discussion from the digital space to the offline, where some of them will pick toxicity, so negative to the social, to the...
We need to bring this conversation to an end. So in a minute, kindly respond to my question, Janet. So will people now move to other platforms of social media as a way of communication now that Facebook and Twitter have decided to crack the whip?
Most of the people will feel like there is a need to move. Some of the people will have nothing to lose, so we will still be on the social media platforms that are already known and that we are already in. But one thing that we need to do is at least give them an opportunity to try and clean up the spaces and better, so that we can consume something better, so that we can gain something out of it. So it's not easy. Some of us will talk about them hindering us from sharing our speeches, our content, the freedom now of speech will be taken away. But remember, at the end of the day, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and they had so many challenges. And these are the challenges these social media platforms are facing. But I believe in the near future, everything will be okay. But those who feel like they need to move, they can go ahead and move if they feel like they're losing nothing on these social media platforms.
All right, Janet Machuka, asante sana. She's a digital strategist, talking to us about that decision by giant social media companies like Facebook and Twitter having to make that decision to suspend social media accounts for some senior political leaders globally. Now, away from that, in Uganda still, and Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine's party said on Sunday that it was preparing to challenge President Yoweri Museveni's election victory. Olivia Chan reports.
Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine's party will challenge President Yoweri Museveni's election victory. Speaking in a news conference on Sunday, National Unity Party's Matthias Mpuga also condemned what it called the house arrest of Wine and his wife.
We have evidence of bad staffing and other forms of election malpractice. And after putting together, we are going to take all measures, I repeat, all measures that the law permits to challenge this fraud.
Heavy security was seen near Wine's compound after election results were announced. On Saturday, the Electoral Commission declared Museveni the winner of Thursday's vote, and the final counts showing the president won 59% of votes to Wine's 35%. 76-year-old Museveni has been in power since 1986 and is one of Africa's longest-serving leaders. In his victory speech, he reiterated a pre-election message that his government would deal decisively with anyone who disrupted peace in the country.
I think this may turn out to be the most cheating-free election since 1962.
Bobi Wine, a 38-year-old musician turned lawmaker, was not reachable on Sunday, but he told Reuters on Friday and Saturday that he believed his life was in danger. His party also said one of its MPs, Francis Sake, was arrested on Friday while trying to access their leader's compound. A party spokesman said he was hospitalized after being beaten by security forces. Police, military and government did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The campaign and election were marked by a deadly crackdown by security forces on opposition candidates and their supporters. An internet shutdown was also in place. The US and Britain issued statements calling for investigations into concerns over the electoral process.
Are you up to date with what is making the headlines in the country? Allow me to take our first commercial break.